session, I just want to know that what kind of audience I'm actually interacting with. I hope all of you are engineers only. Is there anyone who is from non-tech background? All right, so everyone is engineer. Okay, is there anyone who is from mechanical engineering? Anyone? Okay, so Subrata Maji is from mechanical engineering, and the rest, I guess, you are from either CS, IT, or different backgrounds, electrical, electronics, right? So when we talk about the aptitude thing, and especially if we talk about the placement examinations, yes, many of the students, even though they are very good and very well versed in their communication, they are very good in their technical knowledge, you must have done really well in your graduations and all. But again, the most important thing is when you actually sit for any placement examinations, even if I talk about Cognizant, Wipro, TCS, whatever the IT company we are talking about, there actually you won't get the chance to showcase your communication skills as well as your technical knowledge, because for each and every company, the first procedure or the first criteria will be your written test, and in that written test it will be the aptitude portion. I hope, am I right? So when we talk about the aptitude thing, so this is one of the importance of aptitude session for your placement examinations. If you want to go to the final round, even if it is an HR round, if it is a technical round, first of all you need to go through the aptitude round. Okay, so now we'll be discussing few points related to aptitude thing. I'll just share my screen with you guys. Please let me know if anyone is not able to see the screen. All right, so I hope each one of you can see the screen here, right? And please, since I will be sharing the screen, which will be on a different slide, so it would be great if you just unmute yourself and speak whenever you are asked to do so. In the meantime, I will also check the chat box, but there might be a possibility I might not check the chat box in between. So please unmute yourself and speak whenever you feel like. Okay. So talking about the APTI thing, that is a placement examination. So what things we are going to cover in today's session will be, first, the importance of aptitude in placement exams. So this thing we have already discussed, since it is the initial round for each and every examination. Second, what are the different topics or frequently focused topics which will be asked on your placement exams. Third, some common mistakes and helpful tips which will help you to score more and help you to clear your aptitude round easily. And last will be there some questionnaire, right? So first of all, let's start with the importance. Now we have discussed the importance of aptitude in your placement examinations. But apart from that, some of you might also think that why there is a need, why the companies are testing the aptitude exams only, why not other examinations? So I can actually relate these things with your practical life. See, the importance of aptitude will help you in your daily life, in your professional growth, increase mental ability and critical thinking. One common example I would like to say, since most of you are from technical background, if I talk about CS engineering, electrical, electronics, IT, whatever, the most important thing at some point in your career, you need to take certain decisions, you need to do coding, you need to do programming. Now when we talk about coding and all, coding is just about how well you apply your knowledge and how well you apply your logic. When the logic thing comes, definitely the aptitude comes into play. So overall, I would not discuss these things in very detail, but yes, when we talk about aptitude, apart from your examinations, that is placement, it is also helpful in your day-to-day life and your professional growth. All right. Now the topics which you will be getting on your placement examinations, these will be the frequently tested topics. the averages, percentage, number series, coding, decoding, direction sense, time, speed and distance, ratio and proportion, and time and work. So we'll see that we would be able to cover maximum topics. At least I could help you that how you should approach the questions when it is asked from these topics. Okay. Now let us talk about some common mistakes and helpful tips. Now before I show you the slide, I want to know from any one of you that what is the actual difficulty you face whenever you attempt the aptitude section on any placement examination. Any one of you, it is open to all. Yes, you can unmute yourself also for faster response. Okay, Subrata Maji is in first year, so no idea. Alright, is there anyone in the house who is in third year or final year, or you may call it as pre-final or final year? Any one response would be fine. If you could just share your experience, what difficulty you face while attempting the aptitude section. I'm still waiting for the response. Is there anyone who has ever sat for any placement examinations? Okay, let me make this question more easier for you. Is there anyone who has written any placement exams? Okay, so Nanda has attempted aptitude section in Olympiads. Okay, so Nanda, let's start with you. What challenges did you face? And according to you, what you feel, what is the mistake which you have made, if any?
Actually, in those questions seem to be very confusing, and the logics that we apply, like there were questions like based on letters, based on their positions and all. So these questions take a lot of time too, and when we solve, we get first answer. That seems to be like there are some questions in which our first answers seem to be wrong. So when we try the process again, we we get a different answer. So all throughout the process, it's very confusing.
Okay, so what I feel is that the most confusing part for you is that whatever the answer you get, that is most of the times as a wrong answer, right? So you might feel that you're not getting the correct logic behind that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, and Ashish Kumar says that time management, definitely time management is one of the key factor that you need to keep in mind whenever you attempt your aptitude section. Okay, so let's come back to our slide and see what are the common mistakes which student does, because of which they face a lot of difficulties in clearing the aptitude section. I will only focus on few areas. When we talk about the time management, as Ashish already told that it is about time management, how you can actually manage your time. I will not say that you focus on the topic, right? What I will say is, when you solve the questions on your aptitude section, there are few questions which you can solve within few seconds, and some questions, even though if you know how to solve, but it will be time consuming. Remember, the more questions you will solve on your aptitude section, more will be the chance that your section will be cleared. And this statement is is on an assumption that whatever the questions you are attempting, you are making it 100% accurate. Right? So do not focus on lengthy questions. Instead, focus on those questions which are very easy for you to solve. Okay, so that is the first thing in your time management. Don't waste time on lengthy questions. Second is focus on faster calculations. Yes, the most important thing to manage your time is how fast you can do your calculations. Okay, let me just take an example. I'll just take an example here. Okay, please allow me a moment so that I can just open a screen. Alright, so here just focus what I am actually asking you. Suppose if I ask you that what is the value of 115% of 600. So let's see who's going to answer first. What is the value of 115% of 600? And keep this thing in mind that you are not supposed to use any calculator there. What is 115% of 600? Let's see who's going to answer first here. I'll also write down the questions in the chat box if possible. So is anyone having any answer? Okay, one answer I got it as 690. 690, great.
690.
All right. So let's see how more easily we can solve the question, right? See, one thing is that you can straight away calculate 115% of 600, which will simply you need to multiply and that will give you 690. But this is just an example. You might get some different calculations also on your APTI section. So remember, the most important topic for any calculation is percentage. Percentage is the most important topic. Okay. Now, whenever you need to find out a percentage value of any number, suppose they have given 115%. So what easy breakthrough I can make out of this 115% is, I can write it as 100% plus I can write it as 10% plus I can write it as 5%. Why these are the easy numbers? Because 100% of any number is the number itself. So now if I need to find out 115% of 600, so see, 100% of 600 will be how much? 600 itself. Now if 100% is 600, 10% is what? It is 60. If 10% is 60, 5% is what? That is 30. So when you add this will give you 690. So one way where you can increase your calculation is, whenever you find the questions of percentage, try to break the percentage into easy numbers, for which will help you in your faster calculations. I hope this concept is clear to everyone. Anyone who is having a doubt here? Okay, so using the same concept, quickly give me the value of 135% of 500. Let's see, your time starts now. If I can get an answer within 15 seconds.
675.
Okay, one answer I got it as 675. What about others? The timer is still running. Okay, 675. Okay, so your time is up. Now when we talk about 135% of 500. So what I can write it as 100 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 5. 100% of 500 is what? 500 itself. 10% is what? 50. Now 10% is calculated 3 times, so I can straight away write 150. And if 10% is 50, 5% is 25. So when you will solve this, you will get 675. So I hope this thing is clear to each one of you. This is how you can focus on your faster calculations. Okay. Now some helpful tips is, always focus on those topics in which you are 100% confident. And it is not necessary that whatever the topics you are confident in, those topics will be straight away given to you in the starting of the test. No. If you feel this question is from the topic in which you are not confident, leave that question there itself and try to solve remaining questions. Remember the concept, the more you will solve the questions, the more will be the chance of clearing the aptitude section there. And second thing is, identify the type of concept involved. This is actually very specific for a particular topic or question. When you are very well versed in any particular topic, then as soon as you see the question, you need to focus that this particular question is in which topic or is from which particular topic and what type of concept is tested. That we will see with the help of few questions also in today's section. So I hope no one is having a doubt in the common mistakes and helpful tips. See, there might be many other, but you need not to remember each and everything. Only focus on the basic things. Okay. So now yes, I guess someone wants to say.
I have a question that how to deal with the lengthy questions, because I have a problem with lengthy questions.
Okay, so Subrata, we will solve few questions, right? And we will see that if any question is lengthy, how we can actually deal with those questions. And it actually depends on students also, that which question is lengthy from their point of view, because every student has different personal order of difficulty. Okay, so let's see with the help of few questions here. I hope everyone can see the question here. This question is based on problem on ages. Now, before we have a look on this question, I want to know how many of you actually face difficulty with dealing the questions of problem of ages. Though the topic is very easy, but still I want to ask, is there anyone who faces difficulty with the problem of ages? Okay, so seems like no one faces any difficulty. So let's have a look on this question. Quickly give me the answer for this particular question. 3 years ago, the average age of A and B was 18 years. When C joins them, the average age becomes 22 years. So how old in years is C now?
$30.
Okay, so one answer I got it as 30.
Yes, 30 years, 24 plus 6.
Okay, let's see. Is there anyone who is getting any different answer? Yes, anyone who is getting any answer apart from 30 years?
Give me 2 minutes, sir.
Sure. See,
I got it out.
Yes, tell
It's
me.
written 3 years ago, the average is. So when
Yes.
this C joins, is it 3 years ago that is joined or now? Like present?
That is what the tricky part is there in this question. This is the trickiest part that you need to identify when C is joining. Sorry?
I take back my answer. I said 30 years, na?
Okay. Okay, let me also check the chat box if some of you are entering the answer. No one. Okay. So come back to the
24 years,
question.
24 years.
Okay, 24. Now see, one easiest concept to deal with the questions of problem on ages is that whenever you try to solve the question, always solve the question considering their present ages only. Do not try to go with the question, always try to solve the question with respect to their present ages. Let's see how. So we have two persons A and B. Let us consider their ages are A and B only. Now I am actually not focusing on this line, okay? For now I am deleting this line. It is given average age of A and B was 18 years. Average age of A and B is 18 years means that A plus B by 2 is equals to 18. So from this I will get A plus B is equals to 36. Right? Now this condition, the sum of ages of A and B is 36. When this is true, 3 years ago. So if 3 years ago their age or sum of their ages was 36, so what will be their present ages? So what we are going to add here is, remember 3 years ago there are 2%. So what should I add? Yes, 6. It means the present age of A plus B will be 42 years. Clear with this? Now the question says when C joins them. Remember, whenever a person is joining in the past, it will be clearly specified in the question. This is a trick which most of the aptitude questions have. Whenever any person is joining or any person is exiting, it will always be mentioned in the question clearly if it is happening in past. So here the question says when C joins them. They have not mentioned any time period, means C is joining them in present. So when you join A plus B plus C, their average age is 22. So their sum will be 66. Now they are simply asking how old is C. So to find out the age of C, you can subtract the sum of A plus B plus C and A plus B, which will give you 24 years. So 24 years is the correct answer for the question. Anyone having any doubt in this one? Any one of you? All right. So I hope the basic concept about problem on ages is clear to each one of you. Now let us talk about another question which is based on averages. So have a look on this particular question. It says the average marks obtained by 12 students was calculated 72. But later it was found that the marks of one student was wrongly read as 86 instead of 68. So find the correct average. Now I will give you only 30 seconds to solve this question. Not more than 30 seconds. So quickly solve this question here. And give me the answers then.
It's 70.5.
Okay, one answer I got it as 70.5. What about others? Because the 30 seconds time is over, and those who are taking more than that, it means that you are going to solve, you are actually solving this question in a lengthier way. This question is actually lengthy. If you do proper calculation for this question is lengthy, and a normal student will definitely take at least 1 minute to solve this question. Now let's see how we can easily solve this question without even much calculation. So for that we need to understand the basic concept about average. Though most of you knows the basic concept, but still when we talk about average, average is just sum of all the things divided by total number of things. This is how we calculate the average. Now if we have a look on the question, what it says that the average marks obtained by 12 students. It means that the number of students here are 12 and the average is 72. So basic way is that if you know the average and total number of things, you can find the sum, but we are not going to do it in that way. See, this line we know for 12 students the average was 72, but later it was found that the marks of one student was wrongly read as 86 instead of 68. So can anyone tell me that what is the additional marks which is added to the total?
20.
Anyone? 20?
No, means
18. See, 86 was counted,
80.
but actual was 68. So
No
18
additional
marks.
marks are added.
18. Sorry.
Yeah, 18
I
marks
see
for.
that 88.
Okay, guys, I got the answer. See, 18 marks were added according to the question. So this 18 is actually your sum, because this is actually added to the sum only, right? So we know average is what? Sum over total. Now what is the additional marks? It is 18, which is added to all 12 students. So my average is 1.5, means my average is actually increased by 1.5 because I have added 18 marks. So they are saying find the correct average. In order to find the correct average, I actually need to subtract this additional average from the original one. So original was 72. If I subtract this 1.5 from this, I will get 70.5, which is your answer choice B, which most of you were getting. So in this question you can see I have not done much calculation, especially the lengthy calculations. I have just used the basic concept behind average. So that is why whenever you find the questions are lengthy, look for different ways, look for short ways to solve the question. So is there anyone who still has a doubt in this question at any point? I hope this question and explanation is clear to each one of you. So if you would have done the question in this way, definitely you can solve the question within few seconds, which will help you to save a lot of time. Alright, so after this question, let's move on to the next one. Now next concept we are going to talk about is the ratio. Ratio is another important concept which will actually help you to solve the question in a very easy way. So let's have a look on this question. The question is there in front of you. Quickly solve this question. Again, the time is only 30 seconds. The ratio of present ages of two brothers is 1:2, and 5 years back the ratio was 1:3. What will be the ratio of their ages after 5 years?
Two is to three.
Okay, one answer I got it as 2:3. Let's see what others are getting. In the meantime, I'll check the chat box also if there is anyone who is giving the answer there also.
3:5.
Okay, 2:3, 3:5. So multiple answers have started to come. What about others? Okay, in the chat box, 2:3, 3:5.
Sir, 3:5.
Okay, so 3:5 is the answer that is coming. Okay, the time is over. I did not got much answers within 30 seconds. So let's see how we can solve this question in 30 seconds. For that, you need to focus very carefully what concept and how we are actually solving this question. This question is totally based on what? Ages. And remember, whenever we talk about ages, we need to focus on the present thing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to form any equation. I'm not going to consider let their present age be X and Y or something. No, that is a lengthier way. See, this question is based on ratio. So I will use the ratio concept only. There are two persons. Okay. One is A and one is B. Now if you see, there are 3 time periods given in the question. One is present age, 1 year, one is 5 years back, and the final question is after 5 years. Okay, so in the same way I will write their ages. One is one is 5 years ago. Okay, one is the present age, and one is after 5 years. So what we know here is that the ratio of the present age is 1:2. So if I talk about the ratio, just to make you understand in a better way, I am drawing the lines. Present age ratio is 1:2, and 5 years ago their ratio was 1:3. Now how you need to deal the questions using ratio is, you can see that when I talk about this time period and this time period, all right, there is a 5 years gap. Now suppose there are two persons, if you compare their ages now and if you compare their ages 5 years back, one thing is for sure, I don't know their ages at that particular time, but difference between their ages will be same. It means that if I talk about the difference in their present ages and if I talk about the difference in their ages 5 years ago, the difference will be same, because you are comparing two persons in that way. Now how we can make the ratio equal here? You can see the difference between A and B. Here the difference is what? Here the difference is 2 and here the difference is 1. The difference is not same. So how can we make the difference same is, we are going to cross multiply with their differences. Means this difference is 1, I am going to multiply this by 1, and this difference is 2, so I am going to multiply this by 2. So I will get new ratio. Here it is 1:3 and here it is 2:4. Now you can see that the gap between both the ratios are same, 1:3 and 2:4. Now what you can see here is that this 3 and 4 and this 1 and 2, there is a gap of only 1 unit, but according to the question this 1 unit gap is equals to 5 years, because we are comparing present age and 5 years ago. So if this gap is 5 years, means this age, if 1 unit is 5 years, 2 units will be 10 years and 4 units will be 20 years. I hope this thing is clear. Now this 10 years and 20 years is actually what? Their present ages. And if I talk about the question, they are asking about ages after 5 years. So I will add 5 in their ages. So this will become 15. And here when we add 5, this will become 25. So now when you compare their ratios, 15:25 means 3:5. Which is your answer choice C. So those who are getting 3:5 as an answer, that answer is actually the correct one. So now tell me, is there anyone who is having, yes?
Sir, I observed one more pattern too, like in the 1:3 and 2:4 ratio, we can see there is a difference of 2 in both the ratios. Can we take that pattern too to answer question?
Sorry, can you please repeat? What did you notice?
I noticed a difference, means the difference between 3 and 1 and 4 and 2, they are same. So when we take the next ratio, can we consider that criteria?
But how will you find the next ratio? That next ratio only is the answer the question is asking, na?
So we can look for that same difference in the options.
That will help you, but what if you have same answers with the difference too?
Yeah, at that time it is not going to help.
Exactly. So whatever the trick and concept we use for any question, it should not conflict with any of the answer choices. So I hope this question is clear to each one of you. Anyone having any doubt, please ask, so or else we'll move on to the next one. All right, so let's have a look on the next question. We have discussed about problem on ages, we have discussed about the concept of ratio, how we can use it to solve the question, and we have used the concept of average. Now the most important thing which students will face difficulty in, that is time, speed and distance. So let me see how many of you can actually give me the correct answer for this question. Now for this question, I will give you the time as only 20 seconds. So your timer is started. Solve the question whichever the way you feel like and give me the answer.
$70 kilometer.
Okay, so one answer I got it as 70 kilometers. Let me check the chat box also in the meantime. Okay, no answers in the chat box as of now. Well, the time is actually over, 20 seconds, and I got only one answer. I would not say whether it is correct or not, that we will see.
50 kilometers.
Okay, so another answer, that is 50 kilometers.
56 kilometers.
56 kilometers. Okay, so there is only one answer choice left, that is 80 kilometers. Is there anyone who is getting 80 kilometers also? Please don't leave that answer choice alone, na? All of you must at least pick 3 answer choices. Okay, so you must be wondering how this question can be solved within 20 seconds. Like, it is not possible. We need to solve and it will take some time for calculation. So let us just see. Just now we have discussed the concept about ratio. I'll use the same concept to solve this question. So the question says, if a person walks at 14 km per hour instead of 10 km per hour, means initially he was traveling at a speed of 10 km per hour and now he is traveling at a speed of 14 km per hour, right? So what next the question says, he would have walked 20 kilometers more. It means here, what is the distance? That we don't know. Here, the distance will be x plus 20 kilometers. Right? So, how I can solve this question using ratio? Because so far we have just formed the equation. Just have a look here. The difference. What is the difference between the speeds given? It is 4 km per hour. And what is the difference between the distances? Can anyone tell? What is the difference between the distance?
20 kilometers.
20. It means this 4 km per hour, the speed which is there, it is giving me 20 km as a distance. Right? You can see how I am comparing the ratio both the sides. So they are asking what is the actual distance? The actual distance is x, which is covered at a speed of 10 kilometers. So now when I know 4 km per hour speed is giving me 20 kilometers, so what 10 km per hour speed will give? So in order to get 10 from 4 km, I can multiply this by 2.5. If I am multiplying this side by 2.5, I should also multiply this side by 2.5. So here it will be 10 km per hour, and what is the distance? 50 kilometers.
The person walks 14 kilometers per hour.
Yes.
So the actual distance should be 70 kilometers.
Why?
Instead of 10 kilometers, right? So
see, the question is asking, they have given two speeds. 14 kilometer is the comparative speed. They are saying that if the person walks at 14, then he will travel 20 kilometer more. Understand the point of the question. He is not talking about 14 kilometer as actual speed. He has just compared that speed with the original speed, which is 10 kilometer.
Got it.
Right? So you can see Though I have taken at least a minute or so to explain you this question, but if you solve this question on your own, only this calculation is required, which I feel would not take more than 20 seconds. So for those students who feel this question is lengthy, remember, time, speed, distance question can be easily solved using the ratio method. So anyone having any doubt in this question? Okay. Acha, I also got 180 kilometer also as an answer. Very good. Okay, so let's move on to the next question based on time, speed and distance, which is very common in the placement examinations. So have a look on this question, and I won't give a time limit for this particular question. You please try to solve this question and give me the answer.
There is a doubt in chat box for previous question.
Okay, thank you for reminding. Why do we multiply by 2.5? Okay, good doubt. See, 4 km per hour is the difference between both the speeds, which is giving us the difference of 20 kilometers. Now the question is asking what is the actual distance traveled. So actual distance traveled is what? It is x. So this distance is traveled at which speed? 10 km per hour. So when we know the speed at 4 km per hour, the distance is 20. So for 10 km, what should I do? How can I make this 4 as 10? I need to multiply it by 2.5 only. Then only it is possible to make it as 10. So the same thing I have multiplied here also. So that is why this becomes 10 km per hour and this becomes 50 kilometers. I hope this thing is clear to Kanak Durga. Alright, so let's move on to this question. I hope most of you must have utilized the time to solve this question. I'm just waiting for the correct answer. Okay, any answers for the question? Okay, answers have started to come. Ashish have got 1220.
Please play the question once.
Yeah, sure. This is the question. Okay, any more answers? Okay, one answer I got it as 1 p.m. Okay, let us discuss this question. Still, I'm not getting many answers, so maybe most of you are having a doubt in such kind of questions.
So 12:50 p.m.
Okay, 12:50 p.m. So again, out of 4 answer choices, I have received 3 answer choices. I don't want to receive another one, so I'll discuss the question here. First thing is that whenever you find the question like two things are traveling with respect to each other at different times and all, it is best to draw the figure and then try to solve the question, which is what I'm going to do here. So they say distance between two cities P and Q is 300 kilometer. So this is city P, this is city Q, the distance is 300 kilometer. Alright. Now what next they have given is a train starts from station P at 10 AM with speed of 80 km/h towards Q. Okay. So let's mark this thing with a different notation, like a train is moving in this direction at a speed of 80 km per hour at 10 a.m. and another train starts from Q towards P, means another train is starting in this direction at a speed of 40 km per hour at 11 a.m. Now the question is, at what time do they meet? Now one concept you need to remember here, whenever the question is asking that at what time the things or persons meet, what you need to remember here is make time equal. Make time equal means that make sure both are starting at the same time. Then only it is possible for you and easy for you to find out the answer. So here, according to the given information, you can see the person who is starting, or the train starting from P is starting at 10 a.m. which is 1 hour earlier than the other train. So when other train which is at Q, when they start, it starts at 11 a.m. means in this 1 hour, the train starting from P must have traveled some distance. So how much distance P has traveled in 1 hour?
80 kilometer.
Very good. So let's mark it as, suppose this is the point, 80 kilometer. Now the train has reached, I am just drawing a box, like this is a train, and here now the time is 11 a.m. You can see now both the times are equal. This also starting at 11 a.m. This is also starting at 11 a.m. because in 1 hour the train starting from P has covered 80 kilometer. So total distance was 300 kilometer, but 80 kilometer is already covered by train starting from P. So remaining distance left is 220 kilometers. It means when we talk about in terms of formula, speed is equals to distance over time. Now when two objects travel with respect to each other, the concept of relative speed comes into play. So you can see both the trains are moving towards each other. So whenever two trains are moving towards each other, the relative speed is always addition of both the speeds. Clear? So now when train starts from this point and this train starts from this point, they both need to cover 220 kilometer, because at whichever the point they meet in between, whichever the point, the total distance will always be 220 kilometer only. Right? So distance is 220, time we don't know, that we need to find, but speed will be what? Addition of both the speeds. So from here your time will be 220 over 120. When you will solve this, you will get 11 over 6. Now 11 over 6 is in hours. So convert it into minutes. When you convert it into minutes, your time will be 110 minutes. Or in other words, you can say it is 1 hour 50 minutes. So they started at 11 a.m. and after 1 hour or 50 minutes of traveling, they both meet. So at what time they will meet? You can write 11 a.m. plus 1 hour and 50 minutes. So this will give you 12 hours or 12:50 p.m. which is your answer choice A. Yes, this calculation is lengthy for sure, but the concept is important for you to understand because these are the most common questions you may get on any placement exams. So remember, whenever the question asks the time at which two objects meet, you need to make their times equal. So anyone having any doubt in this question? Okay, let me also check the chat box here. Alright guys, so I hope this question is clear to each one of you. Let's move on to the next concept, which is time and work. Time and work is also one of the important concepts, and many questions you will find from time and work on your placement examinations. So let's have a look on this particular question and see how we are actually going to solve it. This question I will not ask you to solve. I'm sure that it is very easy question and most of you can solve the question, but I just want to discuss the basic concept behind the time and work questions. All right. So first thing is, they're talking about two person. One is Aisha, who is completing the work in 16 days. Okay. And one is Amita, who is completing the same job in 8 days. So whenever the question of time and work is asked, remember the concept behind time and work is efficiency is equals to work per unit time. So in this question, they have given you the time. So what we can do here is, we can plug in an easy value for work. Let's substitute an easy number for work. So that work, if you substitute time, you know, so work should be easily divisible by time in order to get efficiency. So if time are given as 16 as 8, let me consider the total work to be 18 units. Sorry, not 18, to be 16 units. Now see, if Aisha can complete a whole job in 16 days, so how much time Aisha will take to in one day, how much Aisha will complete? Aisha will complete 1 unit.
1
of
unit.
work. Similarly, if I talk about Amita, Amita will complete 2 unit of work. Now, when we know that how much they both are completing in one day, the final question is, if both of them are working together, means both of them are working together, so in one day, both of them are completing 3 units of work in one day. So if both of them are working together, in how many days they can complete the same piece of work? So yes, you need to find out the time. Time is what? Work upon efficiency. Work they need to complete 16. Efficiency is what? They are completing 3 units per day. So 16 by 3 days will be your correct answer. If you try to simplify, it is 5 1 by 3 days. So if you see the answer choice, it is none of these. Now this is also one of the trick which usually the examinations gives you. Sometimes they provide you none of these as a correct answer, and if you don't find any answer given in the answer choice, student will feel that none of these cannot be the answer. It should be definitely among the other remaining answers. That is not always true. Always believe in yourself on your calculation. If you have done the question right, even none of these can also be the answer. So anyone having any doubt in this particular question? I hope it is clear to each one of you. Okay. Now after the time and work concept, another type of question in time and work is based on pipes and cisterns. Now pipes and cisterns are
Excuse
also...
me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in the previous question, we will choose any random number as the total units of work, or it should be divisible by both the
See,
numbers.
though you can choose any random number, but to make your calculation, you are actually plugging in for work. If you know the time, the number of work should be easily divisible by time. That is why I have chosen an easy number.
Okay, okay.
Alright.
Sir, can we choose the LCM of both the times?
Yes, if you notice, I have actually chosen the LCM only.
It is GCD.
Sorry?
GCD, I think
LCM
it
of
is
16 and
ACM.
8 is
Greatest common divisor. Greatest common divisor is not 16 units. Greatest common divisor is 8. We are actually not talking about LCM and HCM as of now. So only the point is, you can choose the LCM. There is no harm in that. Okay, now talking about the question based on pipes and cisterns. So here also the question concept will be same. We will solve the question in the same way like we solved the question just now based on time and work. So let's have a look on this question and see how we are going to solve it. 3 pipes ABC can fill an empty cistern in 10 minutes. Tab A alone can fill it in 30 minutes and tab B alone in 40 minutes. So how long will tab C alone take to fill it? So you can see the time is given. So can anyone suggest me an easy number for the total capacity of tank?
120.
Okay, very good. So now see, the equation you need to write it very carefully. A, B and C together they finish it in 10 minutes. Then A alone completes it in 30 minutes and B alone completes it in 40 minutes. Okay, now if I consider the total capacity of tank, instead of work I have considered the capacity because now it is pipes and cistern. So my capacity, if I consider 20, so for ABC, how much unit of work they will complete in 1 minute? It is 12 units.
12 units.
Now A alone will complete 4 units and B alone will complete 3 units. So when all three completes 12 units, you know individually for A and B. So tell me how much C will complete in 1 day.
5 units.
5 units.
Yes, it is 5 units. So now when you know the efficiency of C, so how much time C will take? It will be work upon time.
24 minutes.
Yes, so 24 minutes is the correct answer. Now, another concept in the same question, if suppose they might give you any pipe or if they say there is any leak because of which the water is emptying from the tank. So concept will be same, only the difference is if it is leaking or if it is emptying the tank. Instead of positive unit of work, you will consider the negative. Means suppose if A was leaking the tank, so instead of +4, I will consider negative. So this concept you need to remember and you can easily solve the questions of pipes and cisterns. Alright. So guys, now after completing all these questions, though we are running out of time, so I would not be able to complete all the questions as per decided thing. But yeah, there will be a fun activity for all of you just to check that how well you can think. Okay, I hope everyone is ready for the fun activity. I would prefer if you can give your answer by unmuting your mic. Okay, so let's have a look on the first question. So first is you need to rearrange the letters to make an animal. So the jumbled letters are this. Quickly, what is the name of the animal?
Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Okay, yes, it was pretty easy. So yes, you have given the correct answer. That is jaguar. Ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is which month has 28 days? Quickly,
February.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Okay, basically this was a trick question. The question just asked which month has 28 days. The correct answer is all the months. Because all the months has 28 days. If the question would be like which month has only 28 days, then what would be your answer?
February.
Okay, what if I say that in that case also February would not be the answer?
February on a non-leap year.
Exactly. So it actually depends on the year, that which year we are talking about. Okay, the next one. Which is correct to say? The yolk of the egg is white or the yolk of the egg are white?
Neither of them.
Neither of them. Why?
The yolk egg is white.
Is the correct
It's yellow.
Because the
Is
yolk
yellow.
is yellow.
Okay. So remember, we are not talking about English. We are actually talking about the logic thinking. So yes, none of them are correct because the egg yolks are yellow. All right, let's have a look on the final question of today. If you were running a race and you pass the person in second place, what place you would be in now?
First.
Second place.
Sorry, second.
Second place.
Second place.
Yes, you guys would be on the second place because you have just passed the person in the second place, not the first one.
First.
Alright guys, so with this we'll come to the end of today's session, though it was a very short session, but I actually felt very good interacting with you guys. I felt that I actually got a very good bunch of audience who were very interactive and responsive. So now last few minutes I would like you to open up and ask if you have any doubts, any tips you need for any preparation sort of anything. The house is open for queries.
If you're having any question, you people can ask in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Anurag is saying, are these sessions continuous or one day session only? I guess Gunjan, you would be the right person to say.
Yeah, it is not say continuous session, like not daily sessions. Obviously 30 days you people won't be able to attend the daily sessions, so it will be for something like say alternate days or 2 days gap sessions and all.
Anyone else who wants to ask anything related to exams, related to your preparation, anything like?
In aptitude, are we supposed to focus more on reasoning or on quantitative or on verbal questions?
Okay, can you tell me the difference between reasoning and verbal questions?
So reasoning is basically mostly like they have figures and everything, while
Okay.
verbal will be mostly like word problems kind of questions. Because I am simultaneously preparing for defense exams also, so basically there we have this differentiation.
All right. So if I talk about specifically for the placement examinations, what I have noticed is that the figure questions are not very common in your placement examinations, right? So the first thing that you need to focus on is definitely the aptitude, and another thing is it actually depends on from company to company also that what section in the aptitude they are actually testing you with. When we talk about the aptitude, we have discussed few questions from different topics, so you might have got a general idea what topics will be there in your apti. When we talk about the reasoning things, so the topics that you need to focus there is direction and sense, coding and decoding, and blood relations. These are the three most important topics. Sometimes they might ask you a puzzle also, but don't worry, puzzle will not be a very difficult level kind of. Those will be easy to moderate level. See, one thing also I have noticed that when any student sit for the placement examinations, before actually having a look on the questions, you guys feel like that the exam will be difficult. But actually the exams are not at all difficult. If you know the concepts, if you know what is the right approach, you can easily crack the examinations, regardless whatever the company placement examinations are there. Okay, anyone else?
Sir, I have one problem that I can solve almost every question, but it took me time so how to tackle that?
Anurag, I hope you are there in the session from the very beginning.
No, sir. Unfortunately, I was not from the beginning. Actually, I didn't get the link. I received the link later.
Okay. Actually, some students were also having the same query that they might feel some questions to be lengthy, which is time consuming and so. So in this session, I have also solved few questions using a very easy way. Right? So see, you cannot just learn the way and you can apply on the actual placement examinations. When you learn the way, you need to practice those. Even if I learn any new thing, I cannot simply apply it anywhere. I need to practice it more. Remember, practice makes the man perfect. So whatever the new things you learn, you practice it. But remember one thing, do not learn too many short tricks. This is the most common mistake student does. Do not learn too many short tricks, because in that case, for each and every question, you will think which short trick should I apply, which short trick should I apply. So do not do this thing. Have a decent approach to solve the questions, and very few short tricks which you can apply for all the questions. Okay, Subrata Maji has a question. Which type of question skipped? Subrat, I did not get your question properly. What are you trying to say? Can you please unmute yourself and say, so that it would be more clear? Okay, Nanda says, acha, he is only maybe he's asking about the question which we could not discuss. See, the topics I have already told, the topics which you need to focus on. We have not discussed all the concepts because of lack of time, but maybe using this session you may get an idea that how you should actually approach to the questions. It is not like for each and every question you have to follow the same approach, go in a lengthy way and so on. So again, I will just say that do not only learn all the topics and sit for the placement exams. Learn different concepts, then try to implement those concepts, and especially if you go through the sample papers of the placement examinations, then it would be very easy for you to tackle the question. Okay, Anurag says, from which year we should start practicing apti daily? I guess, Anurag, the answer is in your question itself. Aptitude is not only about the examination. If you practice aptitude daily, then your mental thinking, the critical thinking, your mental ability will automatically improve. If it is improved, then you will notice that you can easily solve and understand the questions of aptitude. So it doesn't matter that in which year you are starting. Okay, Nanda, any good site from where we can get good aptitude questions? Nanda, I would say that you can prefer any site, that doesn't matter, because nowadays all the sites offers usually same type of questions. When you will type any question on the Google, there will be many multiple sites which shows that question. Yes, IndiaBucks is the universal. It is a universal website, and I have seen this website since when I was a student. So you can practice for those. In IndiaBucks, there are certain examination questions also given on the website. So you can do that.
Yes, I have a question. My mic is not working, so I cannot tell that.
Yes, Subhata, tell me.
Yes. My question is that which type of question skipped means some competitive exam that there is a negative marking. So I can, whether I can attempt, there should be means wrong, whether means so which type of question is skipped, so that for not
okay. I got your question. Your point is that when there is a negative marking in an examination, what type of question you should attempt and what question you should skip.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So accuracy can be maintained, so that's why.
Yes. So if you remember, what I told you before starting the topic is that always focus on those topics in which you are pretty confident, because the topics in which you are confident will not give you negative marks. So first of all, you need to solve those questions from which you can easily get the marks. After that, whatever the remaining questions are there, then you just need to take some calculative risk. And I would suggest that if like you are not at all sure in any question and if there is a negative marking, it's better that you skip the question instead of attempting it. Because sometimes negative. Yes.
And how to deal with the long questions, means very lengthy questions, means 5 to 6 lines questions. Not calculations, not the time management. I have a problem with that long questions, means one question that has content 8 lines. So how can I deal with that?
I'm not pretty sure, Subrata, that any placement examination would give you so lengthy question. Are you talking in terms of other examination?
Yes, I am talking about GATE examinations or anything examination.
The GATE examinations and other examinations. See, GATE examination is not about timing. You will get a lot of time to solve the question, right? We are talking about those examinations in which there is a time limit. Talking about the GATE exam, so in that case, you cannot just rush on to any of the question. For that, you need to have a deep understanding of the topic, because the questions that you get on your GATE will be very detailed question. So that is a totally different platform of aptitude compared to the other competitive and placement examinations.
And also, I have no idea for placement aptitude test. Means in placement, means no lengthy questions will be there, right?
Usually the lengthy questions will not be there, right? Whatever the questions we have discussed, similar kind of lengthy questions or similar length of questions you will get on your placement test. For more reference, you can also have a look on the previous year papers that will be easily available on Google. I guess Gunjan is saying the meeting will end at 8:15, so we have less than a minute.
Yes, so if you people are having doubt, just either you can ask now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Soumya, for appreciating the questions. Okay, I'll do one thing. You all know my name, right? So, still,
Shall I share your LinkedIn ID?
yeah, that's what I was saying, that if the student want, they can connect me via LinkedIn for more information regarding their preparations.
Okay, I'll share your LinkedIn ID on the Discord channel so that they can connect with you and ask their doubts over there.
Sure. Okay, guys, so we'll end the session. I guess, Gunjan, that was fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your good
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Thank you so much.
I've shared it in the chat box. You people can just take a look at it.